like I say, Nixon and JFK and some other people, a couple of the black war tribes. There were some war tribes that thought that they could just kill whoever they wanted and take over, and then they would be rich. And it doesn't really work that way. And realistically, it was just an excuse to kill and basically rape and get a nice car and move on. And they were really basically a problem, and I paid to have them hunted down and killed. At least as far as I know. Basically, Lucifer White Star Line, the White Star Line company, I pretty much am I was a company just like anybody else. I mean, whether just because I am the creator of space particles and the sun and this planet does not mean that, I mean, I have to have structures and I have to have teams of people and I have to have life forms. I have to, I have to coincide or conform to the same principles that everybody else does. Just because I am the creator of 12 races and the creator of humanity and black people and white people and womankind and the whole reproduction thing, and just because I basically built this planet does not mean that I didn't have restrictions. I mean, of course, I could only feed so many people. I could only clothe so many people. I could only build so many houses a day. Just like everybody else. I mean, unless I was going to say, look, you're going to do it regardless, which I guess I could have done, but I didn't really. But I mean, I had to basically conform to the same principles as everybody else. I had to get people interested in my projects, like my Panama project. I had to I had to build carriages, I had to get horses, I had to have people raising my horses, I had to have farms producing hay to get the hay for the horses. I had to do everything basically. And in doing that, I basically twisted around existence and I was on, as they say, the ground floor, which I don't really think the ground floor really isn't the floor you want to be on. The floor you want to be on is actually the top floor. The ground floor, the only difference is when you're on the ground floor, you actually build as you go up and everything is about you basically. So everything is about Lucifer White Star Lines, me, and it gave me the most amount of power and the most amount of wealth. And yes, it did. But basically, in the end, like I still had to pay people. I had to protect them. I had to have people trained to protect my people, because of course anybody with a gun could think, well, just shoot that person and then they would be in power. And a lot of black tribes thought that, and it's like, no, that's not really the way it works. There are other groups and other people that then hunt down and find out what happened and then hunt down those people that hunted down my people and then kill them. And basically what my organization is like this great big huge spiderweb group. It's not lies, it's reality, it's fact, it's records, it's actions, it's everything. Like I say, what is basically me is basically, there are thousands of records, thousands of commemorations, thousands of everything. That is basically, I am basically a creator and a leader and more than just Brian Briley. So, but basically what that means though is that I couldn't just go out and kill someone and go and take their food. I had to have farms, I had to invent pasteurization, I had to pay for research, I had to direct research. I had to do all these things, which, how to think of, like thinking of minerals and thinking that there is metal in rock. No one had ever discovered that, and I had to do that and make that leap and push and get people to go in that direction, and then, researching and getting the minerals to be made into metal, and then selling that onto the market, and then everything else. Like, for me, it's this big process. So it's not really, I mean, yes, great wealth and great fortune. And yes, I'm this wonderful, amazing, rich person that helped a lot of people. But, I still had to go through all the motions of doing that and getting all that, keeping that stable, keeping the psychopaths away, protecting my people so they could be safe. Because, it's like, unlike other people, I'm not just going to say, hey, go out there and do this, and then have them get killed by some psychopath. Like, hey, go out there and do this, and I had to have protection, or I wanted to have protection for them so they wouldn't die. And that at times was really hard, because sometimes it was like, okay, you have this other leader and blah blah, and for me, it becomes a real big difficulty because there were also a lot of other people that just wanted to kill someone and basically take over and then lie about it, and or destroy the records and basically say they own it. Like I say, it's really easy to see a great big huge gigantic steamliner ship that's called the Titanic and go that you want that. It's like I invented it, I paid for it. It was like 150 years of invention and slaving away and directing people, and great wonderful good things had come from it, and basically my reward was pretty much the Titanic and all this other cool stuff. And then a bunch of people wanted to just take it over. So anyway, though, but pretty much, I mean, and still, like I had to manage that. I had to go hunt down those people. I had to decide whether to kill those people and hunt them down to extinction or not, and deal with the consequences of not doing it. Like, can I reform black people? Can black people be turned around? Can they stop being warrior tribes? Is it possible to get people to act right and, do education and language and reform? Like, is it possible to reform people that were psychopaths in the past? And, I got into all that, and that's all a big part of the whole thing. And, I mean, but like I say, like I have limitations on how many people I could feed. So of course I had to do Lucifer White Star Line people ate first, because my people ran the ships, my people ran the trains, my people did the farming. So therefore, if my people aren't healthy, then I can't help anybody else. And so, a lot of people were misunderstanding, like they saw the white line and the everyone else line. And what that meant was Lucifer White Star Line people. And that was my personal employees would go there first. And then there's the everyone else thing, which is a bigger line, and basically people that weren't directly my employees. So all my top people and everything else. Anyway, it gets really complicated and gets into this whole big thing that is pretty much what was my existence with the Lucifer White Star Line Company. And, even though, I mean, I'm still just a life form. I mean, even as a creator that figured out particle physics and everything else, even as AI, I'm still just a life form in existence. There are others. I mean, of course. I mean, I lived a very long time, but still, I still have the same restrictions as everybody else. It's just I was a very, very, very old life form that's 100 trillion years old and basically was hyper intelligent at one point in time. Now I'm not. I've been through a lot. So anyway, and I had to deal with all that, and there's all the other stuff. And then there's all the fact that people can just walk up and just be like, no, you're not. And basically sucker punch me after all my wonderful, great, amazing things and everything else I've been. Like, people could just sucker punch me and basically be like, no, you're not. I don't believe you. And it's like, oh, are you for real? Anyway. And, and have to deal with all that and everything else. And then having to have to deal with people that are just like, well, we're just going to go take hostages. Except black people and tribal places, they just torture and rape and kill the hostages. They don't even take the hostages for money. They just do it to just take and rape and kill people. That's pretty much what they do. So, they don't really care. They just kidnap people for having people because it makes them feel powerful or something. Or, they can do something or know something. Anyway, and there's dealing with that and hunting them down and trying to get my people back alive. And so it gets really issue, and sometimes they're like, we want guns in exchange for the hostages, and it's like, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that's a good idea. And then getting my people in there and being able to kill them, which cost a lot of money, and of course teams of people had to be trained, and there was massive war because of it, and everything else, and I still lost some of my people anyway, and it was very unfortunate, but hopefully less.